You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve, and I'm back with Chris and Brad to talk about Highlander 2. Chris, had you seen Highlander 2 before this?
Think so. I messaged you about some stuff that makes me think this is what I was thinking about.
All right, Brad, how about you?
Well, first off, if I've seen all three versions of this now. And if somebody would have told me back in the day when I was a young man, like, when you're a grown man, you'll be sitting in a dark basement talking about the Highlander franchise into a microphone, I'd be like, hell yes, I'll be doing that.
That sounds like, can I get paid for that? No, you can't.
We're not getting paid.
Couldn't hear you. What was it? Lost feed. Anyway, let's move on. So this is one that I've seen quite a bit. I've seen the theatrical. I've seen the Renegade. I own the Renegade on DVD. I own the theatrical on VHS. Yeah, this is something, folks. If you have not seen this film, you probably need to stop this. You can watch the theatrical on YouTube, and everything else has the Renegade, like Tubi or wherever it's free, Pluto TV. Yeah, it's just like this is nuts. And we got a split here because I watched the theatrical. Chris and Brad, you watched the Renegade, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
So last week we had a fun time talking about a good movie, and this week we are watching a movie that has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. How about that?
See, what? It's got 4.2 on IMDb, so.
There we go. Before we get started, I got to read this quote from Roger Ebert. This is just great. I mean, I'm not like an Ebert fan or not like an Ebert hater either, but this quote, though, I'm going to read this word for word. Highlander 2, The Quickening, is the most hilariously incomprehensible movie I've seen in many a long day. A movie almost awesome in its badness. Wherever science fiction fans gather, in decades and generations to come, this film will be remembered in hushed tones as one of the immortal low points of the genre. If there is a planet somewhere whose civilization is based on the worst movies of all time, Highlander 2 The Quickening deserves a sacred place among their most treasured artifacts.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he would have been correct until Highlander Endgame came out.
I don't know, man. This is not a low point at all.
Yeah, but we're not normies.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I wanted to ask a relative to go see this with me.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that Sarah walked in on. And I was sitting here watching it, and she walked in during the time period where Michael Ironside is walking through the like subway, and he's just going insane, talking to people, just being crazy. And she's like, "Does he care?" And I just laughed out loud, and I'm like, "No."
He doesn't give a shit. He's immortal. What's he care?
Yeah, not only does his character not care, I don't think he cares. He said he had fun doing this film because it was insane. But I just think this movie was off the rails so quickly because of so many outside forces that we'll get into that we talk about. Because I know Brad loves to talk about like the Argentina, economy, just imploding around them while they're filming this. But there's so much more. I mean, they made an entire 45-minute documentary on YouTube about how fucking insane it was to film this film.
Yeah, please talk about that. I just watch movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't watch the entire. I watched like the first 10 minutes of this 45 minutes, and I just love how the director, who created the first one, wrote it and directed it, and I believe he wrote it and directed it. He definitely directed both of these. Russell Mulcahy, which he's actually done a lot of films that I like. I really like Ricochet, which he did. I think that's very underrated, and a few others. He hates this film. He walked out in the screening of this 15 minutes in, and I'll explain why. I mean, this film just has legendary status of bad.
Yeah, before we get started, I'd like to say just thank you for making this movie, because it's easy to sit here and be a critic, behind a computer. We don't do anything. We're not responsible for anything, but at least you created some jobs.
It's true.
Give some money back into the economy. You built something, and it is delightful in its own way.
I bet this movie has made money through all the DVD special release, special edition, the Renegade. So there's a Renegade version that was like edited in 1995 by Russell Mulcahy. I don't know when that officially came out, but basically that's like the norm to everyone. A lot of people haven't even seen the theatrical unless, they were back in the day, saw it in the theater or they have the VHS. But now apparently it's on YouTube, which shocked me. Like I get taken down for like more than 5 seconds of music in a clip, but apparently the entire Highlander II, the Quickening theatrical version, can be up on YouTube. I don't know how that works. Whatever. I'm not bitter. I am. But, most people have seen the Renegade version, which makes more sense. It's still not great. It's cobbled together off of some stuff that, what the director could recover.
It makes more sense.
It's a lot better than the theatrical version. It really is.
How?
How is it better? Well,
It's a masterpiece. This movie is amazing, and I wouldn't trade my watching experience for anything. How does something make less sense than this movie?
This reminds me of Mario Brothers.
One of the greatest movies ever.
Exactly. Like if you like these type of like insanity Blade Runner dystopian films, this is right up your alley. It really is, because I've watched the Renegade version, and it's just like one of those things where it's just so bizarre. There's so much plot. Like there's so much plot getting in the way of these actors, and you can tell these actors are kind of, there's something that's great about the I don't give a shit performance. And I think all Sean Connery, who returns in this magically, Michael Ironside and Christopher Lambert all have that fantastic I don't give a shit attitude.
Yeah, there's a point in this movie where they just stop giving a shit.
I'm sure it's like 2 weeks into shooting where they're just looking around, like in the the script's constantly changing. You've got like money men from the corporation coming down and yelling at the director in front of actors, which happened. I mean, none of that shit's gonna work. Like, first of all, if you're gonna yell at the director, do it behind the scene. Why do you do it in front of the production people? But anyway, whatever. I'm sure they were all on coke anyway in Argentina at the time when it was falling apart. I do have a story about that. Michael Ironside told that. It's on YouTube. It's fantastic. Anyway, let's you guys ready to listen to the trailer on this? All right, so this is the UK trailer, because the United States trailer is like 45 seconds and it's all like basically music. It sucks. The UK trailer kind of explains some of the stories, so let's listen to it.
Somewhere in the future, a man from the past
Find MacLeod and kill him.
is all that stands between life and death.
There simply isn't enough energy on the planet to take down the shield without killing us all.
The world is dying, MacLeod. The shield has to come down.
Greetings, Highlander. You cold? Rather glad the magic works.
You got a light?
Let's have some fun.
Remember, you called me.
Just remember, the quickening.
It sounds like magic.
Well, it is, kind of.
Christopher Lambert, Sean Connery, Highlander II, The Quickening.
Did you realize, like, so the guys who come down and fight Connor MacLeod, the like porcupine bird people, which are aliens in my version and just immortals in the other version, they kind of sound like the Crypt Keeper. Like,
No. Yeah.
I did notice in this film and especially this trailer that they lean into the "it's like magic" line that they used in the first one to explain why they're mortal. Now they did it in the first one because they just really didn't want to reveal anything of why these people were born immortal. This one they lean into it as a story plot because they're like, I don't fucking know. I don't know. No one knows what's going on. The script changed so much. So I love that. And they stuck in the trailer because like this fucking movie is nuts. See, you guys didn't get to watch the really bad version like I did.
I will.
Oh yeah, it's there. And
Yeah,
you'll
it's been
see
a
some
while.
stuff. You'll see some stuff and you'll be like, wait, why? Oh, there is no explanation. No one knows why. It's because like investors ended up editing this film because they took it away from the director. And I'll get into that later. But yeah, let's pop in this VHS.
Now available on video and DVD.
Here are the trailers here. We've only got one, and it's December. Now, this has got like Will Wheaton in it. I forget what's his name that was in Mallrats and everything. The Jason guy, whatever. He's got a twin brother. Also in some other films. But yeah, this is basically like, you're going to join World War II after Pearl Harbor? Are you crazy? Do you know why people, it's like a anti-war kind of like Dead Poet Society type movie.
Hard pass for me.
Yeah, because in America we fight our wars, damn it.
Yeah, I didn't see it, so I don't know.
I don't think I'll ever watch this. I just think this is Oscar bait and it just felt flat. But it helps some younger actors like Will Wheaton and stuff get some more credibility. So, it did its job. We see these all the time, man. Like, especially in the 80s and 90s, they fucking love these like questioning war movies. After 9/11, we're like, yeah, we're not doing this shit. We don't care anymore. Everything's evil. Let's escape. Except the, like hostels and stuff. Horror went really dark after 9/11. Well, we've talked about that plenty of times on this show, but yeah, let's get on.
Yeah, after 9/11, you just cast like a brown person in any kind of like villain role, and there you go. It's like, just hate this guy because he's brown.
Yeah, no more Nazis.
Yep. Oh yeah, we hit it pretty hard in some of these movies with terrorists. But we were doing that in the late 90s too, because you had Air Force One, even though, you had white actors playing brown people. But hey, it was a different time.
Well, going back to the 80s, taking it back to our breakdown of Iron Eagle, they had some pretty dodgy casting in that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured because like that was during the like Iraqian, like Desert Storm at one point, with stuff like that. But yeah, war movies, politics, fuck it.
Or you can just watch Four Lions. It's a completely different terrorist movie.
I haven't seen that.
It's a comedy. It's fucking amazing.
I might have to put that
You
on
should
my
watch
list.
it. They like go train with Al Qaeda and he shoots a rocket launcher, but he shoots it backwards.
Sounds about right.
Just a comedy of some like English dudes trying to join Al Qaeda. It's pretty funny. Or ISIS at the time.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Good movie. 2010. It's a good one.
All right. Feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
So in my version, it starts off with August 1999. And I really had a hard time getting past August. Couldn't they just put 1999, like when he's about to put the shield up to protect the ozone layer or protect the Earth?
Historical film.
I was like, August 1999. That was like
implying that it's hot, but it's like also winter time in the southern hemisphere. So,
well, I'm just saying, like, just put 1999. Why do you have to put August? It's not like it came back to the film. You know what I mean?
You saying something in this film is out of sequence and like just totally.
Yeah, there's something in this film that doesn't make sense, and it's only August 1999.
Yeah, everything else is very clear and concise and to the point. I don't know where you're having trouble with.
Yeah, and then it shows that Connor MacLeod has ended his sword fighting days. He's become a scientist. I guess he used his brain, like his abilities to hear people's thoughts, and he became a scientist to help us from the ozone layer, puts a shield around the Earth.
I would have taken that gift to Wall Street, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what the ending was supposed to show, is he's supposed to be like a savior complex. I get like Jesus vibes from the whole Highlander thing. Like you die and come back to life, and then you're here to save humanity at the end and stuff like that.
Yeah, that would have worked if he was pure, but he bangs another chick, so
Yeah, they don't take it in a good direction. He just builds this electromagnetic field. Could have done so much.
As soon as he did it, and I'm like, wait a minute. So your entire like goal here is to block out the sun? Wouldn't that kill everything on Earth?
I mean, we've seen The Matrix.
I just think that's like stupid.
Isn't that a little short? Maybe just give everyone an umbrella.
I don't.
It's just real rainy out today, guys.
Well, at one point they even say in the news, they're like, "Oh, the weather is the same because there's no sun or rain," and I'm like, "How does that
Everyone just
work?"
eats mushrooms, I guess. I don't know.
And how does electromagnetism block out the sun?
I don't know. And how does one company like own all of the rights to the sun shield? That's kind of crazy, and at the same time makes sense because it would probably be Amazon.
Because that's smart.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, so they go 25 years in the future. We see that Connor MacLeod has now become an old man and enjoys the opera. And just darkness everywhere.
Yeah, it's 2024 and the world is a piece of shit.
I mean, I love that opening scene on the opera, fucking neons, like the slow pan in. I love this dystopian future. It made me think of Dark City a lot, which is an amazing movie.
Well, what makes me feel better is 2022 is going so well that there's no way this future is a possibility. Everything's great.
I'm shooting for this future.
We're lucky.
That's where I thrive.
I was like fucking 2024. I was like, oh man, it's out of all the films, please, Highlander 2, don't be the one to get it right. Fuck.
But I'd rather have Highlander 2 than Future Sport.
Yeah, at least we wouldn't have to watch that shit.
It's the same year.
Oh God, it is. Which one will predict it better? Oh no. But don't worry, everyone. We immediately get a flashback to 500 years ago on the planet Zeist. This is where there is a deviation in the difference, in the two cuts here. So in my cut, they go to the planet Zeist. Sean Connery now tells everyone that they weren't born immortal. They were actually aliens from a planet Zeist who, after losing a war, was exiled to planet Earth to become immortal. Their punishment was to become immortal and kill everyone, take the heads, and then you would get the wish of either coming back to planet Zeist or becoming immortal on planet Earth. So the reward in this movie is the same thing as the first one. I don't get why becoming immortal on Earth is a reward. Like, I don't know.
It's freedom of choice.
I guess,
you need to come back or stay there.
Yeah, but the thing is they lost. Their army lost, which, by the way, their army had swords running into gunfire, into laser fire. Just like a doomed, like fucking war. It's so bad.
Was it on the desert planet?
Yes, they're just running straight into laser fire.
In our version, they don't say where they are. It's just there.
On top of all this, Connor MacLeod was randomly picked to be the leader because Sean Connery just points and he goes, and the leader will be you right there. You're going to be the leader of the resistance. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is going on?
They put their hands in some electric goo and like...
It's so bad. And then, they show like Michael Ironside's character, General, I'm just going to call him Zod. I know it's not. It's like General Katana or whatever. And
yeah, it's good.
He's pissed. He's like, wait a minute. I beat them in a war and their punishment is becoming an immortal on another planet? Yeah, I'd be pissed too. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, he said like our common practice is to exile these people to the different plane. But it says in Brad, Yeah, the Renegade says
Yeah.
distant future, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like they're, instead of aliens, they're time travelers in the Renegade version.
But there's no time travel in the future.
Yes. It's almost like these make no sense.
So it was at this point where I decided to go outside and smoke a cigarette with my girlfriend on the porch, and she asked me to explain what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 15 minutes of plot here. And most of it is you going, well, I don't quite understand what they're trying to do, but I think maybe they're trying to, and it's just like bumbling, stumbling for 15 minutes.
They had a war in the past, and then they got punished to the future, which is Highlander 1, which apparently when you move through time, you forget who each other is, but then you remember to scream their name later, and then you're best friends again. But then it goes, and then at the end, it's going to be a different timeline. I have a quote later in the movie that tries to explain the movie, and I would like to read it, but not currently.
Remember when we were talking earlier before we came on, where it's like, if you really understand something well, you can explain it to a 10-year-old? Fuck it, I can't even explain this movie to myself.
My thing is, if you wanted to punish these people, wouldn't like remembering that like you're best friends with them and you have to chop their head off, that would be pretty bad punishment. But then again, I guess if you knew that, why would you chop their head off? You just be immortal.
Is that what we're saying though? That in the Renegade, minus the aliens and just time travel, that these guys were like in BC, and then they teleport them to AD, but then they have to live a life and they don't know who each other is. Is that the idea?
In my version, they send them to the planet Earth, which is a foreign planet.
Way more sense than time travel.
Well, and they send them to planet Earth, which is a foreign planet, and they can't remember anything, and then they have to battle each other to get back to their home planet.
Yeah, they have to do Highlander 1.
But here's the thing: if they actually go back to planet Zeiss, then General Katana is going to kill them because he's General Katana. He's fucked up. I mean, he even says it. I think at one point it's just like, well, when you get back, I'll kill you. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I thought maybe that would tie into why Connor MacLeod would win and then stay, because he's like, oh, I want to be mortal. I want to stay on Earth. Why would I go back to Zeist? But they never actually do that. I mean, there's so many problems in this. Like, and I don't even know why they're fighting General Katana in the first place. I have no idea. I don't know if he's oppressing them or if he's threatening to take their lands. I don't know what's happening. They just like, oh, he's, Ramírez is like, that guy right there is our leader. Let's go to war. And then they charge into gunfire with swords and they lose naturally. And then they're sent to Earth to become immortals and chop each other's heads off until there's only one. And then they can return. I was like, what the fuck? This is the best story that you guys had?
You got me wondering now if the Kurgan, was he back there on that planet, and was he like a cool guy back then in his previous life, or was he like a total...
Yeah, they said it was anybody that revolted against the government was exiled.
Okay, so the Renegade version made it like if you revolt against the government. So they were like oppressing people. Let's just say that, I guess. But they didn't say that in the theatrical version. It's just like
their Supreme Court was way more understanding, but
Politica. We go to present day again, and we see Connor MacLeod is falling asleep in an opera. He's going to a bar, and one of the patrons attack him. Like, yeah, you put us under a fucking dome. I mean, I guess technically he saved their lives, but he also like is the cure worse than the actual disease?
Yeah, 30 years later, is the cure really something you still want?
Yeah, I just love it because in my version, they introduce you to Marcus, which is Virginia Madsen, which, by the way,
yep,
yeah, wow, she's she's part of this, I guess, terrorist group. I don't even know the name of it.
Cobalt,
that's right. And they attack the shield generator, which the company that runs the shield generator is called Shield.
It's also from Solar Babies. It's the same facility.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
I mean, it looks identical to it.
If I could remember Solar Babies in one of my worst episodes ever, yeah.
The movie is fucking amazing, and you need to rewatch it.
No. I sleepwalked through that movie, and I still remember it's not worth watching.
Hard brownout.
Yeah, so she breaks in, and then she finds out that, like, oh, the ozone layer's fine. We could just turn down the shield, which then it turns into an evil corporation movie, which is also merged into this aliens war movie that puts the other aliens that lost to Earth and then they became immortal. There's so much plot. There's so much fucking plot.
I will say something about when they attacked that facility. Like, past future tech is one of the coolest ideas ever in film. Like, every time I see it, they pulled out that circuit board that had like 3 resistors and a capacitor on it, and it's running this entire facility. The display units that they had everywhere with the big chunky letters and just like hard lines going through everything. I love it. I love that aesthetic.
The 80s predicting of the future, like computer run world, is always fantastic.
Yeah, because they're trying to do it as futuristic, and it's not the 80s, it was 91.
Close enough.
Well, I agree. Yeah, they're taking like the trends and just elaborating on those trends, or just continuing those trends that they're seeing. So
yeah, and they don't have any CG, so everything has to be done.
And they're just using old tech. Like,
yeah,
like it's so amazing to me. It just makes me happy. I love it.
What I love is Dr. Cox is in this movie, and he is playing a George Orwell inspired bad guy, where he lowers his voice and he's just ridiculous, and I love it.
One of the Bobs.
The corporate greed. He's great.
Yeah. But this is fantastic about my version is, General Katana is just like, okay, let's go kill Connor MacLeod. I'm going to zap my 2 goons to planet Earth, which there's no time travel in this. So it's like zapping him to planet Earth. But they're like, yeah, but he's almost dead. What's the point? Correct. He is mortal. He will be dead soon. Why are you doing this? There's no explanation. There's not like, oh, he could turn back to immortal with blah, blah, blah. No. General Katana is just like, he doesn't want to wait a few years. This dude's old.
It's not even a few years. Another bar patron's going to kill him.
That's right. Oh, Rusty Schwimmer.
It's as if an old guy with a bunch of power and a little ego lets it go to his head.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen that.
I mean, they're like, because MacLeod just wants to die at this point. He keeps trying to call his friend, but he's not getting calls. He just is like, well, that's fine. I'll die.
Even though the goons tell him not to do it, he sends the 2 bird, porcupine, hedgehog guys down to fight, which is great because I actually think they do a good job of having Connor MacLeod barely hang on and survive and jump around and block some shots from 2 idiots. And then one gets his head cut off from a train, on the tracks. And then he rises back and he becomes Hot MacLeod. He just comes out and honestly, no woman could resist him, right?
Oh, and in the meantime, he takes Virginia Madsen and stuffs her in a dumpster.
Oh, yeah. Hide in here.
Get in.
And then he kills the other guy. And I'm going to tell you what, nothing turns on a woman like stuffing her in a dumpster, killing 2 futuristic dudes, one that can fly, and then telling them you're an alien. I mean, that's instant lay. Instant.
Bro.
And he doesn't even take her to a bed. He just bangs her in an alley.
It's just public sex in a freaking dumpster.
Well, you skipped the best part of the movie.
Oh, I know I skipped it. I went straight to banging.
Yeah. Not the best part. It matters, but
well, I mean,
no, when
kills...
the guy just does the Batman bat wings, and then
I know.
Mulcahy gets on the razor blade floating scooter from Back to the Future, and then they have their air battle. That point came on the movie, and I made audible noises in my living room by myself.
You can see the wings flat, clearly they're not metal because, I mean, obviously that metal would be so heavy. They're some type of like fiberglass or whatever. And you can see the
They're
wire.
just dollar store costume wings.
They're
just flop up.
And then he yells, Ramirez!
He just pushes a button on his suit and he's like, wow, got wings now.
Well, then he brings Ramirez back from the dead from yelling his name. And we're like, what the fuck was that? And I read like in the Wikipedia.
Remember, when you need me, call my name.
How does that fucking work?
Because the goo that Brad brought up, it connected them, they said. We're connected and not only physically, but spiritually. And then they banged, but they didn't show that,
So I'm assuming the quickening gave him the power to bring Ramirez back from the dead?
What I get is the quickenings, you absorb their soul and every soul they've taken. Because if you watch the end of 1, when he quickens, God damn it, I already closed IMDb. But when he kills them, he did like that animated sequence of all the souls like fighting him but biting him at the same time. There's like hundreds of different souls that guy was controlling.
But wouldn't they come back as like a force ghost like Star Wars?
So he like shot his Ramirez soul goo out of him.
Oh my
I don't get it. It's confusing, but that I'm trying to make sense of it.
Well, yeah, and then Ramirez comes back and Sean Connery gets paid a ridiculous amount of money to do like a week or 2 weeks worth of shoots. And one of them is just like getting a suit put on him.
What in the hell was that for?
There's no reason to have that other than to add to the runtime. But what is hilarious is my runtime's only 87 minutes on the theatrical cut.
I don't know what mine was. It's longer because of the commercials. But no, he pays all that money to get that suit on to immediately get stabbed or shot.
Well, and in mine, he dies from a ceiling fan.
Yeah, but they get shot up in the car.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. I like that.
I don't know how they even made it that far.
They were looking like they were having some fun during that scene where they're like comparing gunshot wounds. They're like 108. Oh, 112.
You're going to count that one? It went straight through me.
Like, how much of this was just ad-libbed?
I don't care. This movie is a masterpiece.
Actually, see, when I watched this movie made me smile because it just is so ridiculous. Eventually, Ramirez finds Connor MacLeod in his apartment after banging Virginia Madison's character. And I do like how they have a little sword fight. And he's like, oh, it's good to see you. And he's like, well, we got to break into this facility to get rid of the shield. And he's like, okay. And then smashes the shield globe, which I want. That was awesome looking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no one would get it except you guys.
You're also the wanting to have a random globe in your house kind of nerd, huh? We got laid in high school.
But it's got to be a dystopian globe. Oh, we just got to talk about Michael Ironside coming down on that subway.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he was so over the top. I mean, this was like pro wrestling over the top.
Is the greatest scene of this movie, I think.
He steals that one guy's coat, beats the shit out of him, and then he goes and just gets this train up to the subway up to 300 miles an hour, and he's looking back at that kid. He's just like, this is awesome, isn't it? There is a story behind that. He Michael Ironside told. So his stunt guy the night before got fucked up on cocaine because apparently in Argentina, coke was so cheap that even a stunt guy could afford a shit ton of it. And he bought and he got really fucked up.
Even a stunt guy can afford cocaine.
Yeah. And then he got really fucked up and he showed up at Michael Ironside's door and he's like, hey. And Michael Ironside looks down and he's just like, this guy's got no fucking pants on. He's like, oh my God, are you okay? And he goes, yeah, can I borrow some sweatpants? And he's like, holy shit, my stunt guy's fucked up. And then the next day they were shooting that subway scene. You know, the guy's supposed to drop through the roof and do all the stunt and everything like that. But he apparently was so fucked up that he fucked it up. It was really bad. And Michael Ironside was just like, I think I can do this. And they're like, oh man, I don't know. You know, if something happens to you, we got no one to take your spot or something like that. And he's like, no, I got this. We'll just, we'll figure this out. And they pretty much just dropped him into the subway and just made up the entire scene, which did not involve him taking the coat. He just Michael Ironside is just wouldn't it be cool if I just took this guy's coat? And they're like, okay.
That explains when he lands, he just gets up and he's like, "That was awesome!"
Yeah, it's just like completely made this up because it was supposed to be completely different. It was supposed to be him landing on the subway and saying, like, "Where am I?" And then walking straight up to the driver, killing the driver, and then driving, the subway through the wall to, because it's supposed to be no nonsense business. But once Michael Ironside got a hold of it, he goes, "Oh, we can do more of this."
Yeah, you gotta have that gritty, shitty dude on a subway scene, man. It's such an iconic kind of scene.
And then later on, he gets, put it on my tab scene, which completely ad-libbed at one point. Like,
You in the music business? My sister's in the music business.
they had a scene and it was supposed to be him terrorizing a taxi driver, and they just took over because Michael Ironside in one of his interviews said he's just like, I'm really good friends with Russell Mulcahy, but he was getting terrorized so much from, like the insurance company and all the investors and everything that, like, at a certain point we were getting so many changes in the script, I decided not to give a shit and just have fun. And that was one of the scenes, is the taxi, where he's just like, they were talking, the two actors were talking, and they're like, let's make this up. And that fucking scene is just completely made up. Like, from even popping the tire and put it on my tab.
He knocks on the window and the guy doesn't roll it down, so he smashes it open to talk to him.
Well, the thing is, like, put it on my tab. That doesn't make any sense. Why would General Katana know, that type of lingo to a cab driver? He doesn't. It's just them fucking around, and it makes it fun.
They can watch this future. I don't know if you know that they were watching MacLeod. They can watch the future. Maybe they watch it as like pastime TV.
They don't really watch it. They just know he's here.
Yeah, they like on ours. They like show him at the bar.
No, they don't have that in mind.
I don't know. I'm still beyond confused. We can talk about this for 4 or 5 hours after we're off if you want to figure it out. Brad seems smarter than both of us. He can probably explain it.
The more I watch it, the less I understand.
I mean, at least we get John C. McGinley, Dr. Cox in here. I do love how they introduce, like, Connor MacLeod's friend, in there, and he's like typing on his computer trying to be secretive. And he's like, all that shit prints out in my desk. Don't bother.
Like, I really liked that role. I thought he did really good at what he was doing.
Evil corporation guy is always
his friend.
Oh yeah, that helped him like build the shield.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. He didn't get a lot of screen time or anything, but I thought what he was doing was really, really good. Like, you could tell he was being held hostage by like a corporation beyond his will and stuff. And he was trying to tell him shit. I thought he just did really well.
Well, I mean, at one point, like, Dr. Cox takes him and snaps his fingers, and I thought the next scene showed like a bunch of cars on the ground, and I thought for sure he was gonna go falling into one of the cars from, like, they're just gonna drop him off the building and kill him.
No, that's Dr. Cox.
No, that's later on in the movie, but
I know.
Yeah. And that's really him. That's not a dummy falling out the window either.
What? No wonder I haven't heard anything about him in years.
Oh man. I love, because like dummies, for some reason, the greatest things about like cheaper movies, I don't know why this movie would use a dummy like that and keep that shot, but the greatest thing about like dummies in cheaper movies is the arms don't flap right, because like you can hold your arms up and be afraid and kind of move them and still like have weight, but dummies don't. They just go flat, 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 flat.
You're gonna put them like in front of your chest or in front of your face and hold that the whole time.
Yeah, something like that. But dummies don't. Like, it's so comical and
I will tell you, I will trade practical effects any day for modern CG though.
Oh yeah, they suck. Oh yeah, the whole like line from Michael Ironside when he sees Connor MacLeod at like the gravestone of his ex-wife. Where he's like, ashes to ashes, dust is dust. If you don't take it out and use it, it's going to rust.
You better be fucking something else soon.
Oh, God. I just love how much him and John C. McGinley and even Sean Connery at times just chew the scenery. They just don't care. It's great.
I love how that Holy Land persists through both movies. Yeah, we're on holy ground. I won't even do anything here. And I was like, you won't? It's like you're apparently way in the future before Jesus even existed. Like, you care about religion?
Well, the thing is like, it seems more of like an honorable code. Like, we won't do it. I don't know if there's any rules. Like, will they actually, like, if they start fighting on holy ground, do they die? Like, what happens?
No, it's just something. It's honor code.
It just seems like to me, looking at a guy like General Katana, like he wouldn't care about honor or code or rules.
That's what I'm saying.
Like he would use it to his advantage. Like if he thought he was going to lose a fight, he'd be like, "Oh no, we can't take a life on holy ground."
I think the villain in one would take more like respect of an honor code than Katana would.
Yeah, Katana doesn't care.
He was an asshole and a piece of shit, but I don't think he was a warrior through and through. You know what I mean?
Oh, I could see that. Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think Kurgan would respect that more.
Kurgan's like, this is the rules of our war and this is what we follow. That's fine. But if you step out of here, I'll fucking murder you.
And then, we do get them breaking in to the shield generator, getting shot up and everything, and then finding MacLeod's friend who dies conveniently after telling them some information in the jail.
That is the worst scene ever, though.
Yeah. At some point in this movie, they're given some coordinates to prove that the ozone layer's repaired itself where you can go above the shield. And so...
Okay, yeah, that's in your guys' cut, yeah.
Well, that was during the office scene you were talking about. I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, because it's like the movie split up differently in the Renegade version, but I had to go like nerd on this stuff and looked at I stopped the movie and looked at the coordinates. It's like Greenland, someplace in Greenland they have to go to.
Beautiful, beautiful Greenland.
Yeah, don't they go like above the actual shield to test the radiation in the ozone layer?
Yeah.
If they went to Greenland, how the fuck did they get there? Because they literally go through a tunnel, they're there, and then they go through a tunnel and they're back.
One of the many mysteries.
They're time traveling, and you're complaining about them getting to Greenland.
All right, speaking of, I have a note that takes up half a page, and it says, I am so fucking confused. What is this timeline? This is why I hate time travel. Fuck this. Yeah, that was my note at like 3 a.m.
Justified. Everything you said in that note, justified. Yeah.
Then right after it was like, can it afford Queen again? I see. That was during the makeout scene when they started playing the main Queen theme, but it's just an orchestra.
Yeah, maybe that's so they didn't have to pay Queen as much. So they're in the prison, and in my version, Ramírez says like I don't get this. Like apparently, if the immortals concentrate all their energy, they can make a metal ceiling fan, a souped up metal ceiling fan stop for just a little bit, so MacLeod and Madsen can get out of the little...
Does your not go back up and explode? Ours was a big explosion.
Yeah, there's an explosion.
He's like, most people just let their life trickle by, and then some people make full effort out of it or some bullshit.
I'm like, what are you talking about? So he has like Jedi powers now?
I'm saying it's Star Wars.
Shit would have been handy against the Kurgan back when he got his head cut off the first time.
Yeah, maybe the first. Maybe he used it in fast.
It's not even actually Ramírez, right? It's like some type of soul powered.
No, it's Ramírez.
Ghost Ramírez.
It is Ramírez.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
We didn't talk about when Ramírez came in though during the Shakespearean play. That was a good scene.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. That was Sean Connery having a lot of fun.
It just seemed like an ad lib. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, they even have like a kind of like, oh yeah, it's cool if you're gay and everything. I don't care if your friend, whatever you had together, your little skull, and it ends up being like It was Hamlet, right?
And then he goes, "Sir, fuck off! You're being a twat," or whatever.
Whatever.
He calls him something like when he called him haggis, and he's like, "What's haggis?"
That's from the first movie, the haggis line.
I know.
Okay. Like a fuck. Yeah, I don't know what he says. I remember.
He calls him like shithead or something. Like
yeah,
that's what it was. And then he keeps calling people shitheads when he is looking at the TVs before he gets the suit and everything. That whole like weird 15 minutes of the film that doesn't belong is actually just really good. Watching Sean Connery just be whatever he is in the time, knowing like he's in the wrong time period, but he's like, whatever, we're immortal. This is weird. I'm going about my day.
Yeah, it's
And somehow in this mix, I think does he recover because Connor MacLeod has the broadsword that he took from one of the dudes, the spike porcupine bird dudes. And then sometime later he has his katana sword again. And like, how did he get that?
And it's the same, like the Katana has the same sword almost as the original guy, and I can't remember his name. You said it, Kurgan.
yeah.
Yeah. So where it's got the two pieces that form together, you see it when he stabs it through the cabbie, but the hilt is different.
Yeah.
I don't know if these were supposed to matter, and they just cut it.
I bet at one time in the script there was something that like connected, that like maybe General Katana and the Kurgan had some type of like interaction, like some type of lineage together. I don't know.
Or just technology from the future past sword
I don't
making.
know. But Michael Ironside mentioned he's like, it was great, like having that broadsword and like just slinging it around. But he goes, but the fight scenes were impossible because you had a 22-pound broadsword. And he's just like, there's no way to be graceful with that. And apparently they both got injured at their final fight. Michael Ironside and Christopher Lambert were, I don't know. They both recovered fine, but someone got like a part of their finger chopped off. And
Yeah.
I think it was Christopher Lambert, didn't it?
Yeah,
sure.
he did. He got a part of his finger cut off.
I remember him missing part of his finger.
They're both fighting like a 22-pound sword is insane.
That's what I'm saying. The fight scenes are terrible, but it makes sense if you're not using foam. I consider myself fairly strong. I'm not gonna fling that thing around gracefully.
Oh no, if you fuck up one time and they don't block right, holy shit.
Yeah. So like all the movements are slow. Like the sword will go above their head real fast, and then it's slow to come down to make sure the other person blocks in time.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's probably why in the first one, the final fight was so clunky at parts because, Clancy Brown's like sitting there hauling around a 20, 30-pound sword.
Yeah, somebody's doing that windmill spin to cut down the sign. Yeah, he's having a blast, not worrying about anything.
Yeah.
But when the actual fight, he doesn't want to cut somebody's hand off.
Well, I think because, Michael Ironside had that giant sword, that's why the ending fight in this movie is so short.
Because he didn't want to wield it.
I mean, I'm sure someone got hurt and then they're just like, oh, Jesus, we can't do this. Let's, and then he immediately pretty much kills him, which helps take down the entire shield generator, which I thought was clever, the Quickening taking down the shield generator because they had, plugged in earlier in the script that like it had a defense mechanism that it would take a lot of energy or a big blast to take it all down. So I was like, okay, at least they tried with that. I'll give them that. But the rest of the movie's so much ridiculous. But I mean, even down to Dr. Cox's death is basically him getting his nuts squished and then thrown out the window. Which, by the way, if you're like face to face with an immortal who carries around a giant broadsword and just murders people, why would you get snarky with him?
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Isn't that what he's there for? It's like, what would you say you do here?
Yeah, he's a trillionaire that just acts like he owns everything. That's his character.
Yeah, I mean, John C. McGinley just plays that character so well of anyone who's just a complete jackass in the wrong, spot. It's just like he was in Office Space. What would you say you do here or here? He's just like, oh, you really fucked that one up, didn't you? Just to get thrown out the window and your ball squashed. Great. I fucking love him. I'm so glad he found Scrubs and we got so much more of him because he's
a good actor.
Fuck, I love it. And then the Quickening kills the shield. Now, depending on what version you watch, the ending is different everywhere.
The Quickening didn't kill the shield.
I thought the Quickening.
No. He had the Quickening and everything, and he keeps hearing like, in the end, it will take two of you to destroy it. He just walks into it. He stands inside of it after the Quickening, and his body destroys it.
What?
Yeah, he just stands inside of it. Your version might be different, but
well, I got some questions. Then isn't he like mortal again, and wouldn't that just like fry him like instantaneously?
Yeah, because the minute he killed the last immortal, shouldn't he be mortal again?
Well, when does he choose? When does he choose to go back to Planet Zayas? I guess in yours, I don't know. Fuck it. No one cares.
I do have something I wanted to talk about after they banged in the alley and went back and he stabbed her, but we kind of skipped over it.
Go.
She's confused. I have an entire quote to read here. I don't know if you guys know it, but she goes, "Okay, now let me just see if I can get this straight." Oh God, my handwriting is terrible when I'm drunk. You're mortal there, but you're immortal here until you kill all the guys from there who have came here, and there you're mortal here unless you go back there or some more guys from there come here, in which case you become immortal here again. And he goes, "Yeah, it's something like that."
Well, in my version, he says, "Yeah, it's like magic."
Does he?
Yeah, he just explains it off like that, and I'm like, "Oh, come on, screenwriters."
He came in to ask what the movie was about, and I rewound to that part, and I was like, "Here we go. I don't understand it more than this."
I wouldn't even use that excuse with my 5-year-old daughter. I mean, it's like that's ridiculous. It's like magic.
It's bad. It's really bad, and somehow extremely enjoyable. Because my version was 87 minutes, and it flew by. I was just like, "This is fucking batshit crazy. This makes no sense. I have so many questions, but thank God it was 87 minutes."
Yeah. I was like 6 beers deep, so I think it took longer than it should have, but it was a great watch.
Well, in the UK version, it's even crazier because after they take down the shield and everything, he floats off into the space or whatever and just goes, "Hey, you can come with me." And she's like, "No, I can't. That's crazy. I can't go to planet Zeiss." And he's like, "Yeah, sure you can. It's like magic." And they just float off into space into the planet. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's the UK ending?
Hey, you don't come in between love, okay, Steven?
Oh my God.
They go off and they go back to the planet and get like promptly just executed the moment they show back up.
That's my thing. I was like, what if they...
I think if you end up back there, you win sovereignty or something. You know what I mean? If you, it's like that trial. If you end up completing it, then you're innocent now.
I mean, at one point, it's got to piss you off if you're the creator of this, because they basically just destroy the first film. You know, the first film wrapped it all up. They're like, okay, you know, he chose to be mortal instead of going back to wherever. I don't know what the first one choice was, but he became mortal so he can have kids. You assume he'd want to have children. He's married now. He can.
That was a big point of the first one.
And he could read minds apparently, which
it was like, I want to have a family.
Yeah, and this one they're just like, yeah, that's my second wife. She died.
That's what you're saying. All right. I don't know, Brad. Do you have ADD? Because I know me and Steven do, and it's difficult to keep track of things. But like, we skipped over his wife's death scene also.
Oh yeah, we did.
Because it's like right after in in his house. It's right after that monologue I just read, and then he's like, "Well, look at all my cool shit. Let's bang."
This they're in this giant infirmary that's like acres and acres big for anyone that gets sunlight on them, and it's like they didn't cast Roxanne Hart for this movie, right? It's like some other fill-in.
Oh no.
Yeah, see, you guys got this scene. I didn't.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Mine is he just says goodbye to her at the cemetery. And then Michael Ironside comes in and like wipes his boot on it.
So I've never seen a studio it's like they just went out of their way to take a giant dump on her. It's like they must really hate her. Like,
well, explain to me what happens exactly.
Well, she's got a bandage over her face or covering her eyes. So they wanted to make it someone kind of look like her, but not have to pay her. And she's dying. And she's like, "Promise me you'll save the earth," or something, whatever. And he kisses her on the forehead and just walks off with no emotion whatsoever.
Wait, so he like divorces her in this one?
No, she's dying. He just kisses her on the forehead and just walks off.
What is she dying from?
She's all like chemically burned, like faces all like kind of distorted with wrinkle, like zombie wrinkles through, not like, oh, you're old wrinkles, but like zombie wrinkles through her face. But she's got a big sleeping mask over her eyes. And she's like, "Yeah, to make sure you save the earth." And he's like, "This is a plight." And then all of a sudden she just stops breathing and he just gets up and he's like, "Tra la 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 la, going about my life. I'm an immortal. This means nothing to me." And they pan away. So, like epidemic movies where they have an entire stadium just full of cots. That's what this is for people that were killed or damaged by the UV radiation.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't. That's bizarre.
It was zero shits given about that. There's like just mailing it in.
And this is the version that the director wanted?
This version makes a lot of sense at times.
But he like loved her. And he's just like, peace. I want to go bang someone else.
God, I don't. It was a flashback to why he decided to.
Oh, it's a flashback. Okay, all right.
This was back in like 1998 or 1999, around that time.
Oh, and this is like supposed to inspire him.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that statue where when the movie first started and they show that statue protected it under the shield. It has a date, like when it started, like 1999, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it has an end date of 2024 on it. It's like the shield's still there. Why is there an end date?
I gotta go watch this again.
Yeah, right after her scene, they talk about his death. Because, like, that's how she kind of figured out he's immortal. She's reading that book or his diary. It's after she finds out he's immortal. It's like reading on his diary post, and it's about him on a boat. And it says all the other crew members have died. When is this going to end? Is this a sick joke? And then he's a captain of a ship. It's like, was that his death in this timeline? Is this Evangelion with multiple timelines, which are really confusing and overlapping? Or is this just that they fucked up and it's another time after he already died and now is immortal that he's on a ship and he's starting to realize like he can't die? Or did they fuck up?
Go with the latter.
Yeah, probably.
Steve, that's a lot to take in, isn't it?
Oh, damn it, I was muted. What's weird about this is like in 1995, he comes out with the Renegade version. I don't know when that was officially released. And then 2004, they come out with a special edition of the Renegade version, which I think they just made the shield blue and added like a couple scenes, which I'm sure you guys that's probably what you watched on Pluto TV or Tubi or whatever.
Tubi.
Like, it's so much different. Like, there's so much you guys are talking about where I'm like, that is not in my version at all.
See, I was really confused when you said aliens. Like, I was just didn't know if there was extra characters that were aliens or if they were aliens. Where'd that come into play?
So what happened is it got to the certain point that a lot of the investors got really scared in the insurance company because, Argentina, where they were filming this, basically inflation got so crazy that they were like, we're not going to make any money off this. So people got scared because they looked at the dailies and the original cut of the director and they're like, holy shit, this is a long sci-fi epic which doesn't make money in their eyes. So they completely eliminated the director from the editing room. They went back and did some reshoots, which he was not a part of, and they edited it together. They sliced away a lot of the film. They got it to 87 minutes. They turned them into aliens, which traveled to Earth. Like they got...
So you're saying there is like dedicated scenes where they say they're from that planet?
Oh, yeah. 100%. There's like an entire, like, I guess like Supreme Court, like Brad said, where they're just like, we're going to come up with this punishment for you guys losing the war.
Those three dudes that don't talk but talk.
Yeah. They talk in mine.
Their mouths aren't moving in ours.
Yeah, that's because when they did the reshoots, they probably didn't want to pay these actors to come back. So they just took scenes where their mouth was closed and did like an overlay of a voice.
Brad, did you notice that?
Oh, I just remembered that now. I got to go see this movie again because this is just...
When did you watch it?
I watched it a few weeks back on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I watched it, what is today? Wednesday? Sunday.
Well, the director cobbled his director's cut together because he was saying, he's just like, there was other scenes that I wanted to shoot to make this film, but I got all the stuff taken, all the creative control taken away. And like, I think they had like 10 days left to shoot and they're just like, yeah, you're done.
It seemed like the movie was paid for by Christopher Lambert. I don't know if you noticed that right in the beginning.
No, he hates this film.
Really? The production company is Lambert.
I mean, that's bad on him. I don't know what happened.
It's Lambert. And then instantly after that, Lambert's name popped up, and I was like, "Is Lambert Lambert?"
Well, I mean, Michael Ironside, Christopher Lambert, Virginia Madsen, the insurance company and the investors threatened to sue them if they badmouthed the film. They didn't have to worry about Sean Connery because Sean Connery didn't give a shit. He just wanted his money. He shot the film. He got paid a ridiculous amount of money for 2 weeks, and then he just left. He didn't do anything for him. He's just like, bye, I'm done. That, he was a hired gun. He did his scenes and he's out. Now the rest of the actors were pretty pissed off that the director got taken off. I mean, the director actually left after 15 minutes of the screening, according to multiple sources. Like, he just was so disturbed of what they turned his dream into.
So we had no control over the edit either.
Yeah, he had no control.
I just did a Google search here for Lambert Entertainment. Chris, you are correct. This is a Christopher Lambert associated company here. Two titles to their credits. Okay, and sorted by popularity. Highlander 2 is more popular than their other movie in their catalog here called Night Move, starring Christopher Lambert and our old buddy Tom Skerritt from Top Gun.
Night Move?
Ooh.
Damn, that's a movie.
You've seen that? I love it.
It's either from the song or I've seen it. I don't know.
During a chess tournament, a Grandmaster Peter is suspected of murdering Debbie after sex. He helps the police as the murders continues.
No, I haven't seen that.
I wonder if he just lost a bunch of money off this movie.
Well, it made $920,000 is what it made.
Ugh, that'll kill a production company. Yeah, I know. Lambert was really pissed about this, and he actually tried to get the film stopped from coming out of what they edited together, and then they threatened to sue him and a couple other people. Michael Ironside actually said he wanted nothing part of it. He's just like, whatever, I won't say anything bad about the film. He said, but once the movie comes out in video, I don't care. And they were like, that's fine. Lambert, on the other hand, and Virginia Madsen had a real problem with the film because they just thought it made them look bad.
I disagree. This movie is great.
Well, basically, the investors and the insurance company threatened to sue them if you say anything negative about this film before it hits, home video and stuff like that. And they finally cooperated and said whatever, but they refused to do any positive, marketing for the film. And you can even tell the US version of the trailer is like 45 seconds. It's shit. It's terrible. The marketing for this movie was terrible, and they just stuck it out there. But this is really why the main company lost so much money, is because they did so many distribution sells. Like, there was like 9 or 10 different companies.
9 or
10 different distribution companies internationally that got a hold of this. So all this international distribution got splintered and no one made any money. Everyone lost money. And what was funny is the director who got so a lot of people sold the rights of the distribution of Highlander once the series came out and stuff like that. And the director actually made money off a lot of the distributions at the end because no one wanted it. So he just bought them all and then distributed his renegade cunt. It actually made money off this. So good for him.
Good for him.
Like me, love it. Like, if I was a bit older for the time, I would have been buying this shit. Like, I was a child when this came out.
Well, see, the thing is the Renegade version apparently has a lot of the ridiculous gaps filled, because the theatrical cut just has giant gaps where you're like, wait, what's happening? Why is Virginia Madsen, with him? What? Huh? What's going on? And that's how I felt during the 87 minutes. But I think that the Renegade version is closer to 2 hours and actually fills some of the gaps and makes it a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it went okay. Do you think it went okay, Brad? Other than not understanding it?
I'd say it's definitely, the consensus is it's a better production than the theatrical version.
That's what I was so confused about when I hit you guys up. Like, what version did you watch? And I was like, what the fuck do you mean, what version did I watch?
And what's crazy is there's, the UK, and there's a TV version too, which a lot of people try to find old people who recorded it, because apparently that has other scenes that aren't even in the Renegade version. It's nuts.
I just got given like 100 pre-recorded TV things. I wonder if it's on there.
Who knows? All right, well, let's get to this. Brad, do you recommend the Renegade Special Edition version that you watched?
I recommend it with a caveat: is you really got to be kind of depraved nerd to enjoy this. But if you check those boxes off, yeah, definitely.
All right, that caveat makes sense. Chris, do you recommend
Yeah,
the Renegade
wholeheartedly.
Special?
If you like shitty dystopian 90s dreary all black and sepia toned movies where like the tech isn't right but they're predicting stuff that is right, yeah, I love it. It's so good. It's not great. It will never win awards, but I had a blast sitting on my couch by myself with my cat, just watching this, drinking beer. I can't recommend another movie higher.
It did bring me great joy.
So I can't recommend the theatrical version on VHS because it's so fucking dark. It's so bad. And I have a good VCR.
You mean like dark visually?
Yeah, it's bad. The VHS sucks. Now, I was looking at the YouTube version of the theatrical version, and it's much better. Watch it on that. But from what I can tell, just watch the Renegade version or the special edition Renegade version because, man, the theatrical is just so fucking bizarre.
If you have friends over and you guys want to like do whatever you do to alter your brain in a fun way, just put it on and have fun and talk shit with your friends and get confused and pause it and have arguments on time travel because it's the stupidest premise ever. I hate time travel in every movie.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing about Avengers Endgame is like, man, I pissed off some nerds.
I think they did okay with time travel, but it is really bad.
Here it is. It's like, so what I was is all I said was I go, yeah, but Endgame ended up, shoehorning in time travel, which is one of the laziest script plot devices you can do.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they set that up for like multiple films, and everyone got mad.
They
and I'm like,
fucking didn't. I'm a giant nerd, and they didn't set shit up.
Oh, it doesn't matter if they set it up. It's time travel to redo something. I get it. I get it. I thought it was clever that Marvel, like, instead of like going back 5 years in the past and saying like, oh, none of those people remember. I do give them credit for like people lost 5 years of their life and they're like, what the fuck happened? I like that. But when you use time travel to reset a timeline, it's always fucking lazy. And I actually give them credit. And I'm like, how do you do 10 years of a film and then you destroy the main bad guy or the main bad guy wins and then you have to revert it? You have to do time travel. They painted themselves in a corner, but they painted themselves in a corner a long time ago. I don't actually get mad at them, but it's fine to love a film and still accept like time travel's lazy.
I love the Marvel films for how shitty and dumb they are. They're just, I'm a nerd and I am super happy that the shit's being made. But for time travel, there's two good time travels that I can think of. There's the movie Primer, which ruins it in the last like half. It's not convoluted. It's very straight to the point. It's this time machine can't go back farther than the time machine was created. And so it makes a lot of sense. And then at the end, they open up to this big like warehouse full of different time machines that are taking time machines. And it gets confusing. They did great until the last like 5 minutes. And then what is that short story where they travel back in time and they have to walk on these invisible like planks through prehistoric because they say even if you step on a butterfly, it will change the future. They've made movies and stuff off of it.
Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. It's like a very popular.
Yeah, it sounds oddly. I don't know if I've ever seen that, but it sounds like something I've heard of.
It's the most popular time travel thing in the world, and I can't remember the name of it.
The time travel to me that works is, like Back to the Future because it's tongue in cheek and they're kind of like, this is ridiculous, right?
Yeah, they show his photo fading, like, shit matters.
Yeah, I mean there's some time travel that works. I'm just saying like time travel is like known to script writers as, hey, we fucked up. How do we get out of this? Or
you're just jumping the shark.
With the Avengers, the whole like Marvel, like first phase of Thanos, they had that set up. I actually don't like look at them and be like they're stupid. It's just like yeah, you had to
Well,
use
that's
time
why they
travel.
invented the PIM particles and brought it into the cinematic universe.
I
and
know
all
it's
that.
just like fucking
I
time
know,
travel.
I get it. I'm not a Marvel fan. Comic books I read the edgy shit like Image and Top Cow and stuff because I don't like heroes
Yeah.
winning all the time. How are you gonna win all the time?
Oh, that's what's annoying about most superhero films. Is like there are a few that I do like. Anyway, I recommend the Renegade Special Edition. But let's go on to the museum.
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
That belongs in a museum.
So do you.
This is the part of the show where we go in the film jungle like Indy and bring something back. This is our Highlander wing of the museum, number 2, The Quickening. Brad, why don't you go first? Good or bad, buddy? Whatever you
Good
want.
or bad, just besides the convolution. I mean, I would say Michael Ironside's performance.
Solid. I mean, it's fucking great.
Damn it.
I'm sorry.
So I was gonna say the fucking subway scene through and through.
Whoa, no. Brad put in the character. He didn't put in a scene.
Gee, that subway scene's so exciting.
I'll take the one where he grabs one of the Bobs from Office Space by the nuts and throws him off the building.
John C.
That was my note. What a way to die. Fucking get some pleasure and then thrown out a window.
I mean, I kind of want to. I just would have put in the entire fight where he's like fighting the like flying guy, the porcupine dude, and then he's on like a hoverboard thing or whatever. That entire scene, I'm like, oh my god, this is so stupid. I love it. All right, so to go into what I was watching, I watched the Boys. We've talked about this. I don't know if it was in last week, but speaking of the good guys not always winning, The Boys is a little dark and gets a little kind of like, just nasty and everything. But I do like the courage that these writers, producers, and directors have on The Boys.
I heard the graphic novel is far worse than the show.
I would believe it, yeah.
Like Starlight's wearing like a string bikini.
Yeah, where they're just like exploiting her body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You can get away with a lot more in the print. I mean, when you actually put actors and everything in front of cameras, you're dealing with human beings, and like exploitation films are exploitive for a reason. You can't do an entire series of exploitation. Like people just get uncomfortable.
I think it's the people that are gonna watch. So
yeah, you're trying to make it for the broadest.
Yeah,
broadest,
my grandpa
section of
can watch
viewership.
The Boys, but us three are gonna go by the graphic novel, and we're gonna understand the nuances and what they're trying to point out. We're not gonna get confused by it and think that oh god damn it, what's Superman's name in that?
Homelander.
Oh, Homelander.
Yeah, we're not gonna think Homelander's a Republican idol and then get mad at this season.
I've been told, and this is the same thing, and I'm glad I did. I didn't start reading The Walking Dead until far into the show, because everyone told me, he's like, oh my god, The Walking Dead's so much better in print, the graphic novel. And I'm like, yeah, but I can't compare them, because like you get away with so much more in print in the graphic novel than you do in the actual media of like a series. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about actors. You don't have to worry about humans getting concerned, or you don't have to worry about agents.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about putting somebody in a situation they don't feel comfortable with.
I mean, when you get to actually, like putting someone in a series, it's different. You're dealing with humans. And exploitation films got away with it back in the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s. Because those people were like one-off films and they were desperate for money, and some of them were young actors that didn't
I also
know.
think some of that exploitation film it was pertinent.
Yeah, it's
like they drove a point home.
Well, the good ones drove a point home.
Yeah.
The bad ones just like, let's put some boobies on here and rape and shit like
there
that.
There was boobies in this film. I don't know if you noticed that when he's driving the car by and he sees those homeless guys.
Oh, this is weird how they put in the nudity in this one.
Just once. They didn't put
You
it
know?
in the sex scenes, just some girl on the side of the street.
But anyway, yeah, back to The Boys. I'm impressed with the level of courage that they take. And I know people will be like, well, they're just doing what they did in the graphic novel. That might be true. I haven't read it. But still, it takes courage to do it in media because eliminating popular characters or characters that, even a fringe likes takes courage because, they might not come back for the next season. And this is a streaming service, even Amazon Prime, that relies on subscribers. So if you piss people off, they might not come back. I don't think it's a great show. I think it's a very risky, courageous show, and I give them that. But I do enjoy. I watch this with Sarah. Sarah watches this one. She likes it, and which shocked me. But I like The Boys. I just do.
I like what they're on season 3.
Yeah,
Season
they just
3.
completed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the first 2 seasons a lot. Like I said, I haven't been able to watch anything since mid-May, but
You'll enjoy it when you do.
Dude, my life's getting back to normal. Rooms are getting done. Shit's getting on the walls. I'll get back to watching stuff.
All right, before we end this, did you guys watch anything you want to talk about?
Well, I guess it was a few months back. I watched Dune. And it's like I think I would have had a really hard time keeping up with everything if I hadn't read the books a couple times.
I thought the movie did real well.
I did too. Yeah,
As somebody that can't read, I didn't get confused, but I follow this guy on TikTok that
There's a lot of material in the books that they just don't get to.
Yeah, this guy on TikTok explains a lot of that, and it's really cool. It's a very expansive world.
Yeah, those books will mess you up if you read them. They're something.
Yeah, and again, these movies, unless you do it in series, these movies can't get to everything based on a book. The book can just cover so much more.
Like I've been getting into Warhammer, and like the story of Warhammer and Dune are just expansive. They're very similar. That's why I brought it up. They're like very dystopian, fucked up futures and travel between planets and stuff.
Yeah, if you ever read like Foundation and Dune, you'll kind of understand where George Lucas got his inspiration for Star Wars.
Oh, he got that everywhere. So, but I get your point.
That's what I'm saying. I think these are very Star Wars-esque movies, and it's just they slightly missed it. But Star Wars is shit. I don't know how many people that I know that love Star Wars forget that it's fucking garbage. Like I love Star Wars. It's trash. It's your mom's soap operas with fucking light swords and space travel.
Don't forget the space wizards.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I love it to death, but all these fans that freak out about everything, Star Wars is trash overall. So like realize you're watching a soap opera.
So this is Chris's last episode.
I love Star Wars to death. Darth Maul is one of the coolest characters fucking ever, and I'm so glad he got a bunch in not the Clone Wars. What was the show called? I don't drink much, and I'm 6 beers deep, so I'm forgetting.
No, I know it. No, Darth Maul was. Oh, you're talking about the Clone Wars?
Is that the show? The Clone Wars?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's in the Clone Wars where he gets the
robot
spider
legs.
legs and stuff.
Yeah,
fucking love that it came back. But I mean, overall, it's trash. I'm just tired of all these Star Wars fans complaining about absolutely everything.
I just want Star Wars to go on to new stories like they did with The Mandalorian. But then they came back and they're like, and now we're introducing Boba Fett. And just like, no, just keep going with new characters.
Yeah, the Boba Fett, I like the show as a whole, but I don't think it was necessary one bit.
No, new characters. New characters.
It's just like
new characters. I'm going to keep interrupting you. New characters.
Pinhead, but like Pinhead needs to go. You need to get rid of some characters. Halloween, maybe if they do another Halloween movie, maybe it's somebody else with the same kind of condition he has or something. Like, can we introduce new characters once in a while, maybe?
Well, these franchises just keep making money. That's why they keep introducing the old characters.
I'll see every Star Wars film ever made.
Exactly. I know. So why? I'm so tired of the Skywalker franchise, but you know what?
I'm gonna see them all.
I'm gonna fucking watch
well,
it.
Yeah, I tell you what. This was right before COVID. We were down in Disneyland in California. I went to Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And I'm probably a top 10% Star Wars nerd, but I was out of my depths there. Okay.
Oh wow.
I was a nobody.
My girlfriend she's okay with nerd stuff. She's not a nerd by any means. Doesn't even really watch movies, which doesn't make sense. But
opposites attract, dude.
But she wants to watch like Star Wars and the Marvel movies and Lord of the Rings with me because so many people gatekeep and just you don't know this weirdly obscure planet that was in one episode of the show that only ran for a half season. Are you even a fan?
Yeah, the gatekeepers of the multiple franchises out there are just so annoying. Like, oh my god. But anyway, Chris, before we go, I know you said you don't have much time, but did you watch anything?
No, that's what I'm saying. I haven't really
watched
anything. I've been watching the guy on YouTube play Magic a lot. He's really good. But I mean, other than that.
All right, then. We are ready to go. So, guys, remember to be kind.
And rewind. Brad.
1, 2, 3, go.
Rewind.
Yeah. I love it.